Hello guys, I am back from another video and I'm sorry that I made this video pretty late at night, or at least like late at night in my time zone. But I'm really sorry because it was, blackout. So I'm making this video as, an apology. So, hello guys, I am back from another video and today we're talking about deku. Was a animatronic. So, in the last video, Deku, we talked about Izuku's origin, where Izuku was killed by William Afton in one of his branches, being a sort of like pizzeria-like festival. So, Izuku was killed and turned into an animatronic, and his vengeful spirit, which now hates adults, and sort of teenagers, not really, unless they're like going into his, sort of room, he would kill them. And people called Izuku in his brand new form the Fazbear's Fright Beast. Many heroes and almost all villains are terrified of him. Even some priests try to exorcise the place, but most of them just got killed. After that day, William Afton gets what he deserves, just like in FNAF, 3, where he was killed by the spirits of his past killings, except for Izuku, because he was recently killed. So, after he was killed from his springlock suit. I meant, sorry. Where he died then. Where he was trapped in the storage facility, dying from bleeding. So, it's been a few years now, and it's finally time for the start of the anime. So, let's talk about what happens next. So, Izuku wakes up in his brand new animatronic form again, where he starts roaming around the entire facility, or should I say, broken down and dilapidated festival, or just place, because ever since, William Afton was caught, this place was never, destroyed. So Izuku stayed there, just roaming around, as Izuku's soul is still trapped in this body, looking around this entire place, trying to find William Afton so he can take his revenge. But for now, Izuku is currently just, roaming around, finding adults where he can just kill them. So, Izuku slash his more animatronic form starts looking around. They couldn't find anything but more spare parts. Mostly parts from old amusement park rides, where Izuku takes them and just brings them to his lovely abode, being the... wait for a second. Parts and service room, where Izuku starts tinkering and starts making these almost spider-like creatures. Izuku just calls them friends. These things are basically just like puppet masks, and they're attached to like a ball, and they have multiple legs. These multiple legs are basically have blades. These blades are sharp enough to basically just kill a normal child and a regular adult. As Izuku's finished the rest of the batch, Izuku puts them in a little box. They're about the size of a small child, by the way, which is even more worrying. So, Izuku tells the rest of these friends to basically start looking around while Izuku starts resting. So, when his more animatronic self goes down to the count, as in like literally doing like a Golden Freddy and just, stops moving, Izuku comes out in his more spiritual form, being his the soul form, basically looking like you know, the crying children or the spirits, just like in FNAF 3 and 4, and also FNAF 2. Basically, they basically look like that. So Izuku starts looking around the entire place in this more spiritual form and starts talking. Uh, where's Papa? Where's Mama? Where's my dad? Where's Mom? Where are you? Where am I? What happened to me? He was crying. He's trying to find his family. He wants to see them again, but couldn't. And he felt rage for what William Afton did to him. Meanwhile, William Afton is just in like the storage facility, just laughing, saying, "Finally, I'm back." As he starts breaking down the door, or should I say the broken boards that's basically like blocking the door. So, after he does that, he starts escaping and breaks down the gates or the entrance to the festival, which is completely dilapidated and broken, and also kind of creepy, which many people don't want to go. Like, nobody wants to go through there because apparently it's haunted. Take a guess why? Because of Izuku. Either way, well, wait for a second. William Afton starts running away, as when Izuku heard the commotion, Izuku just goes back into his more animatronic body and starts going to the entrance. When Izuku looked, the entrance was broken. Completely broken. Izuku thought it was just a gust of wind or something, so Izuku just fixes it up by using a blowtorch. So, Izuku also has another arm, which Izuku starts using it to, get his key. Where Izuku got it from, the manager. And the manager, let's just say, he's currently in another place right now. As in another place, I mean currently sleeping in a dirt bed. Yeah. So, Izuku starts locking the gate as Izuku starts going back to his room. So, Izuku goes back to his room as Izuku starts drawing, just like a normal kid, and puts it on a little board, where the rest of the children mostly just, in FNAF 2 and I think 3, there's several drawings. That's basically what Izuku's doing. He basically puts it around the entire, room. So, Izuku thinks it's time for him to just get some rest, and goes into the, suit, and just goes to sleep. Or at least, his own version, because, he's technically a spirit, so he just goes inside the suit, and just, it kind of feels like sleep to him, so, yeah. So, either way, let's go to another perspective. This perspective is one of Izuku's ships. So, let's begin. So, apparently some hooligans, and yes, I'm calling them hooligans even though people don't really call them these days, but let's just say they're hooligans, or people that want to look around this, place. So, they basically go in as they look around, as one of them was Reiko. As this person with blonde hair says this, "Hey Reiko, let's look around." As for the other person, he seems to be a bit, weird. He has several, what do you actually call them? Metal spikes as hair. As he says this, "Yeah, this place looks pretty interesting. Even though this place is supposed to be haunted, I think it's probably just a stupid rumor. As for the other person, being a girl with, orange hair and, green eyes, says this. If this place is really haunted, then Reiko, maybe you can try and, talk to the spirit or something? Because, you have a ghost quirk, as she says this. Uh, maybe I could try. So, while they're looking around, Izuku hears a commotion, as Izuku tells his friends to try and find them. So, these spider-like creatures start charging towards, them, and starts looking at them in the shadows. Izuku can also see through them, so basically they're, extra eyes. No pun intended because, they have multiple eyes. So, they start looking at them, seeing that they're teenagers. Or at least close to, becoming teenagers, because they're technically 15 to 14. Because they're still in middle school. So, Izuku sees that they're actually close to becoming teenagers, so Izuku wants to be kind to them. Because they're still technically children, but close to becoming, teenagers. So, Izuku looks and starts watching them. They started looking around the entire, festival, or at least the former festival, which has been turned into, a desolate place, as they go and see several of the sights. Until they get to the, wait for a second, the storage facility. The storage facility was dilapidated, as when they saw the pool of blood where, William Afton actually died in, they were scared, as Reiko was not even phased, as one of them being, wait for a second, Monoma says this. Wait, how are you not afraid? Oh wait, you like horror movies. As she says this. Yeah, and besides, I think it might be just oil, and it just looks like that because, age. As one of them being the silver-haired, not really rambunctious. Actually, why do I even say the things I say? They sound super old, and nobody actually calls them that anymore. Anyway, this boy with the silver hair and almost metally silver bits on him says this. Yeah, it's probably just oil. Yeah. Oh god. If it's actually blood, I'm terrified here. And if there really is a ghost, then is it vengeful or something? As Reiko says this. Probably or probably not. Wait for a second, so as Reiko explains, unless if the spirit is vengeful and seeks revenge, they would probably kill us right now. Except for me, because I... And if it seems to be more, forgiving and sorrowful, it will probably just leave us alone or tries to, try to make it help us. Or, make us help it. As he says this, one of them being the not silver haired, I meant the orange haired, green eyed girl. Yeah, how do you know all this? As Reiko says this. Well, back in the day, I actually used to work for, a church. Apparently, my great-great-grandmother was an exorcist. Apparently, she accidentally got killed last time. And my, well, my great-grandmother was born at that time. After my, great-great-great-grandmother was killed. As the girl says this, oh, I'm really sorry. As she says this, oh, don't worry, Kendo. I guess you could, I don't know, just leave me alone for now. So, after they're talking, Izuku's friends still watching them, as Izuku, in his more childlike state or spiritual state or whatever, is still watching them. As he says this, I don't know what they're doing here, but I hope they're not doing anything bad. So, when Izuku starts looking closer, one of them has a certain looking, wait for a second, looking peeper, which says, entering the high school of UA. And this paper jogs a memory into him. So, this memory was back when he was, a normal kid. When he did die, where he was talking to Bakugo, as Bakugo asked him this. So, Izuku, if you were to have a quirk, what would it be? As Izuku just says this, I want to have a fire quirk, just like my father. And if I become a hero, I want to train in the UA, the best hero school ever. As Bakugo said this, as usual, you're quite the nerd. Both Izuku and Bakugo laughed. As when Izuku remembers that memory, Izuku starts running around as he screams at the top of his lungs. As when all of them heard it, they started running away, thinking that's the ghost. But Reiko just explains that it's probably just an animal. Wait for a second. So, after they finished, looking around the storage facility, they basically start leaving. But before they can leave, Izuku actually, well, let's just say it's different. Izuku finished something on the fences of the, wait for a second. Finished something on the fence. So, while they were talking, being the, students or the teenagers slash, kids, kind of to Izuku's eyes, Izuku finished up his special project, which is putting barbed wire on top of the fence, which, well, they don't have an escape route, as they started thinking of other things to, get out of here. As one of them being this, silver-haired boy with the several, shards of, metal, says this. Maybe I could punch the gate open. As one of them, being Reiko, says this. That seems like a great idea. As when he does, it breaks the gate but also alerts Izuku. So, when they did that, they started leaving. But when they left the, the confines of the, broken down festival, they saw behind them several of these friends as Izuku starts walking in the middle of them. As the speaker is still working, as in speaker, I mean the actual speaker for, wait for a second, for the animatronic back in the day, says this. Hi kids, I'm really sorry for what I did, but sorry you had to die. Izuku's demonic voice comes out of that, voice box as everybody started running away, including Reiko. Reiko was not ready to see a ghost. In fact, not even ready to see a ghost like this. Izuku just left them there in shock and terrified as Izuku starts repairing the gate. So, after Izuku does that, Izuku just goes into his little room again. Izuku was tired, as Izuku just says this. Why did those... Sorry about... Why are those people just ruining my home? Either way, I need to get some sleep. So, after Izuku does that, he goes to sleep, but before you leave, we're actually going to go into another perspective. So, because Izuku's now, sleeping, we're gonna be going into the perspective of Reiko and her friends. So, so, they're currently at the news station. Not really news station, I mean a police station, I meant. So, while they're in the police station, the chief officer says this. So, why the hell did you decide to go into that place? As one of them being, well, the kid says this. Well, it was a dare from one of our other classmates. As he says this. I'm really disappointed in you. You're supposed to be the soon to be number one richest person ever, Mr. Nato Monoma. As he says this, yeah, I'm really sorry. As one of them, being another police officer, says this. I meant, wait for it. Another police officer says this. So, how about you, Miss Reiko? As she says this. Oh, we actually saw the spirit. That's why we ran away. As one of them being another police officer, which, after hearing that, he spills his coffee. As he says this. No way. Did you really? One of them being a really old officer says this. Huh. I'm guessing the spirit tried to kill you. I guess you left there alive. Surprisingly, as one of them being the silver wheel, like the metal wielding boy says this. What do you mean by that? Like, how? As he says this. Unlike you, I actually survived as well. But, unlike you, I didn't, well, have anything, to lose. Because after all, my parents did die when we accidentally got into that place. And let's just say the price I paid for that is when he pulls back his, cap or his police hat, everybody sees the large scar on his head. As he says this. This is what happens when you mess with things that you don't know. You damn hooligans. And trust me, that monster over there, you do not want to trust it. As one of the more younger officers says this. Hey, okay, can you stop, chief? And besides, there's no such thing as ghosts. As one of them said this. Well, saying something like that, that would mean, Reiko's quirk is technically, not real. As he says this. Not like that. I meant like, actual ghosts, like evil spirits and things like that. As he says this. No. There's such a thing as evil spirits. And I actually met one of them. It was that kid. As he says this. Wait, what? As he says this. Yeah. I saw that kid. He wanted revenge, apparently. So, tell me the description, and if it really is him, we need to go there immediately. So, Reiko tells the description of this so-called Phasma's Fright beast. So, she explains that it had several wires, as the endoskeleton is still showing, and one of them being Monoma said this. I think I saw, a piece of, rotting flesh inside of the thing. I couldn't confirm it. It looked like there was, a human body inside of his mouth, like a human face. As one of them said this. Yeah, it had, 3 arms, and several of these, whatever those things are, they look like spiders with, the porcelain masks and hats, and had multiple eyes that are like, like prey, like prey waiting to die. It's terrifying. As Reiko says this, yeah, and apparently one of his hands was wielding a gigantic axe with serrated edges, I meant. Wait for a second. And I also remembered that it had another hand. This other hand had several hooks for fingers. Some of these hooks were absolutely sharp. I think this amalgamation, or whatever this thing is, seems to be hating us, but we don't know why. As the veteran says this, it must be because you did pass onto his territory without, you know, wait for a second, consideration about his, well-being. As one of them said this, what do you mean by well-being? He's a literal monster. As one of them said this, he's not a monster. It's just a kid. As one of them, being Reiko, says this, a kid? As he says this, yeah, a victim of William Afton, the Purple Man. As one of them said this, wait, you mean that William Afton? That William Afton that literally killed several kids for, I don't know, for several reasons? As he says this, correct. He felt angry. And he basically explained in quotes, or should I say, speaking to me with that speaker, saying that he wants revenge on all rotten adults, including William Afton himself. I guess that's why he hates adults. As one of them, being Reiko, says this, well, he really hates adults. Maybe I should go there and try to convince him to stop murdering these people. As one of them, being the veteran officer, just says this, that's a death wish. Are you trying to get yourself killed? Just leave it to the professionals. We'll just have to shoot him down or something like that. As, well, wait for a second. So, as they were told to leave and just get like minor slaps on the wrist for what they did, Reiko decides to go back to the, amusement park, or should I say the festival, or at least the former festival until it was turned into a literal freak show, and go there and see this so-called Phasma's Fright beast. So, when they left, they go back home. So, I hope you liked the video, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!